So let me know if anyone can relate to this, but you're just a few months away from getting your degree in music and you don't really have a job lined up because as a musician you rely on multiple sources of income and there's not really a certain job market for you out there. So what do you do in that position? You're kind of thrust into the real world and you don't really know how to make a living, don't really know what the right path is. And on today's episode, I'm bringing back a guest that I had a few years ago, Elisha, who's now a associate conductor at the National Children's Chorus in Washington, D.C., and she goes over her journey about how after getting her degree in music performance, how she transitioned after college to eventually landing a dream job and the uncertainties with that. And there's so many great lessons along the way, and I hope you can enjoy and learn a thing or two. Anyways, I hope you enjoy this interview. Here we go.
So my name is Elisha Miller, and I am proud to be a choral conductor. I'm an associate conductor for the National Children's Chorus. Why is that so hard to say?
It's a mouthful.
Yeah. And I do two of their ensembles here in Washington, D.C. We have them all over the States. And I am also a full-time music director at a Methodist church.
How did you get a start in that?
So, to be completely honest, it was a lot of luck, timing and luck. At the time, I was working a position that I absolutely hated, and I would do anything to get out of it. And a colleague connected me to the National Children's Chorus and said they have an opening if you want to apply and interview and all of that. So I went through the process and I was hired. I will say it was my worst interview I have ever done in my life. But you have to remember, this was 2021. And so COVID was still a big deal, a big thing. At the time, our principal conductor was very interested in helping young conductors grow. And so she saw my potential and she saw my hunger. Like, I wanted it really bad and I was going to put forth everything I had. And she hired me and she trained me and made me such a better conductor. And I've been successful in the position. Yeah, I have a bachelor's in vocal performance from the University of West Florida. I've done various conferences and workshops and, summer-long intensives and things. And I'm hoping to add a master's degree to that pretty soon.
Do you take a lot of what you learned doing your vocal performance studies in your current position? Do you find that there's a lot of applicable things that you've learned? I'm sure there have, especially with taking vocal pedagogy and those kind of classes. Do you find yourself calling back to that experience frequently?
Absolutely. And I think personally, for me, probably more than the average person, I know most people would have an education background, like music education, right, instead of performance. But I have found that my background in performance has been almost more helpful than an education degree because I offer a perspective that education people don't have. The pedagogy of vocal technique and things is really, really helpful. Diction classes also. We're doing an Italian song this semester, and it's been so fulfilling for me to teach diction rules to these 10-year-olds about, when does a schwa apply and how do you elongate your consonants, and just funny things like that you wouldn't understand unless you went through the performance classes to get it.
So what advice would you give to a young musician who has career aspirations to do what you do?
My biggest piece of advice is take risks. Don't try to play it safe. Don't try to take a traditional route. My entire career has been anything but traditional, and it's been a lot of luck, a lot of taking a leap and not knowing what's about to happen. It is scary, but the character it builds and the confidence in the decisions that I make and the places that I get to go and where I get to perform and all the things I get to do, it has all come because I had the courage to do things that were really, really scary. Take risks. Take all the risks you can.
Did you know you were going to be doing what you do now while you were in college?
Absolutely not. My life now is the biggest curveball. when I think back to even like freshman year, Elisha, who was a trumpet major, music education trumpet, like I wanted to be a band director.
That's
What a
crazy.
little girl, like she no longer exists. And then like switching to viola performance at one point, and then finally finding my way into vocal performance. I thought I was going to be a performer. And I mean, I still am, of course. We wear multiple hats as
Sure.
professional musicians, and I love that I get to perform. But it's my identity as a conductor that I am most proud of and I feel most fulfilled by. If you told me in May 2020 when I graduated that I would be a conductor for the National Children's Chorus, I would be like, no way, no way. And here I am.
Things just happened by knowing the right people, being in the right place at the right time. And do you have any future career aspirations of things you want to do, like couple like 10 years down the line or even further?
Yeah, my ultimate career goal right now, of course, I am totally open. If tomorrow I wake up and I decide I don't want to do music anymore, like, I'm open for myself. I don't try to lock into one thing. But my fixation for the past 3 years or so, what I really want to do is to be an artistic director for a large community chorus. I know a lot of people want to go into academia. I definitely think there's a place for that, but my heart is with the singers who show up because they just want to be there and they want to make music together. And I've taken a lot of inspiration from the director I'm hoping to study with when I go for my master's. Yeah, so that's currently what's on my horizon. I've also had aspirations to do crazy things. Like I was like, so I discovered it and I was fascinated and I was like, I need to talk to people about this. But I noticed the disproportionate gap between professional orchestras and professional choirs. And there's a professional orchestra in every major city, even non-major cities, but the same is not true for choirs. And it's like, why is that? And as I know I'm just one person, but how can I contribute to closing that gap, making a difference? Again, not as a 26-year-old, but maybe over the next 20, 30, 40 years. That's something I'd like to look into as well. Depending on who you ask, because I have brought this up to a few people who say, like, that is the joy in what we do. Like, 99% of singers do it because they love it, not because they're getting paid to do it, which I think there's an argument there. But also, if we are to be as respected as other musicians, then I'd just be interested to see how we can elevate the choral art to be as respected monetarily as our instrumental counterparts.
So that was the conversation I had with Elisha. It was really insightful. And the key takeaways were that as a musician, you don't really know where you're going to end up. You have to be open to all sorts of opportunities, and down the road, you never know what kind of career path you're going to end up in the music industry. And you really won't expect it. It'll come out of left field. So it's important to be open to new experiences, say yes to things, meet new people. It's all about networking and who you know and being in the right place at the right time, all those wonderful things that I like to talk about. But if you have any insights or questions to ask Elisha, I linked her channel down below, and we can also start a discussion in the comments section. But with that being said, I hope you enjoyed and keep writing.